Alright. Um, so, uh, what do you want to do now? Okay, so we probably want to make the bones actually do something. So we're gonna make these bones a little bit less visible to help us out. Just gonna be wired, just lines now. And we're gonna, in every 3D software, when you want your bones to affect the model, you want the bones to be somehow linked to the mesh you want to deform. So in this case, actually, let's not make this bone deformed because it's just a controller bone. Um, in this case, you would in Blender you can just select both of the objects, the skeleton and the mesh, and then you would just parent these objects, and you can choose automatic weights. And now, if we would move around something, you could see that it kind of works. Whoa. Okay, those are separate models that aren't working just right, but okay. For the most part, it kind of works, but you would always need to touch up your mesh after calculating weights automatically. So we're just gonna do that now, and I'm gonna show you how it looks like about everywhere. There's also another way you can do this, by the way. You can use something called envelopes. You can do that here too, and they're basically like cylinders that you would align their sizes. They would look something like this. Uh, okay, this is way too big, but yeah. Um, that looked like an ass on legs. Um, so you would probably like align like the size of those envelopes for like the hands or something, and they would select the vertices closest to those envelopes, and then they would calculate the weights by themselves automatically. But it's while it's an easy way to do things, it's not a very efficient way because you can't really do a whole lot of manual touch-ups and fixing with that. So instead, what we have is we can just select a bone and just paint whatever we want to move around. So we maybe, for some reason, if we wanted this bone here to affect the leg, you can totally make that happen. So we don't want this bone to affect the entirety of the chest, probably. So we're just gonna paint those polygons out. I mean, those vertices out. And that looks... Oh, what the hell? That looks kind of like this. And you can move around the bones to see if they affect anything. By the way, you can ask any questions while I'm doing this, if you want to. So we're just looking at some illegal vertices that aren't supposed to follow. Also, the whole thing that this bone right here affects like completely these vertices is only temporary, because we're gonna make this bone here affect some more of those vertices. And obviously, if we spend some more time with this, we could arrange the skeleton more, but we're not going to do that. So this object here is completely unaffected by anything. So we're gonna attach it to the arm here by just painting in the vertices of this object. It's not a separate object as an entity, but it's an object in the sense that it's a lump of vertices of geometry. But it belongs to this this entity. If it's red, if it's red, the bone is affecting them as much as they can. But if it's blue, they don't. So anything in between is, well, anything in between. So if this is like just slightly blue, it will actually be less affected by, then this would be like no effect at all. And oh, and did I mention this is totally something a programmer can do? You don't have to be an artist to make a um, good weights for your characters. And yeah, that, you know what? I'm not gonna actually care too much about how good it looks, but I'm just gonna try to make it as okay as possible. Okay, and yeah, and the neck is somewhat okay, but I kind of want to make this look as good as I can because we're gonna make animations with this. So if your weights are crap, it doesn't matter how good your animations will be, they'll just look awful. So we want the head to be 100% affected because the head is a solid piece of geometry. Even real life, some people have really heavy heads. And yeah, we probably don't want the ponytail to do that. Oh yeah, and if you would be modeling this model by yourself and you would be using some kind of a mirror modifier to, for example, like previously we talked about, like you would draw the model from one arm and then the other arm would just appear as a mirror. If you would be doing these weights, they also would be painted the same way on the other side. But since this model is not mirrored like that, it's actually not very symmetrical. We don't have that now, but that's totally fine. So yeah, you can see that we can now rotate the ponytail and it kinda works, kinda looks alright, I guess. So also, one thing is that if there's a vertex that isn't affected by any of the bones in the skeleton, it's gonna just stay in place if we move around all of the bones, and you need to be very careful to not allow that because it can cause all kinds of problems, especially in game engines like Unity. It's actually gonna scream and cry about that. This here is like a solid piece of something. When you're making weights for your models, it's very important for you to understand which pieces of geometry you want to look solid and which ones you don't. So you probably don't want the chest part and like the body or something to look solid. You want it to look as smooth as possible. So when it bends, you want it to be kind of squishy and stuff. But if we have like a metal-ish glove like this one here, you probably want it to look as solid as possible. So when we would rotate it, actually it does look pretty good. Never mind. But if we painted some more stuff here and then move this around, you can see that it kind of can look squishy and whatever. We want to avoid that as much as possible. So to do that, we would paint it completely red for the bone that we want it to be attached to. And then we would want it to be completely blue for the other bone. Actually, this vertex belongs to the hand, the arm. So, oh yeah, we want this to not affect. Actually, no, we do. So yeah, looks kind of alright here. And this, of course, also modifies the metal glove here, which we don't want. So we're just gonna paint that out. For some reason that... Oh. Okay, so we... we don't want the thumb to do this. So just remove those... Oh yeah, and also you can probably make it so that you can select vertices that you can't see. So you can paint out stuff like that. Why is... Okay. Alright. And then of course you would want this hand to be affecting the actual hand itself. Oh yeah, and here's an example of some vertices not being attached to anything. So if you would move this around, you can see that it stays in place. You don't want that. And it's also this bone helps to figure out which vertex it is that we want to find. Though I'm pretty sure there's a way to highlight those vertices anyway. So let's make this hand here red. And now if we move around, you can see that it kind of works. There's something there. Okay, so the fingers are pretty okay, I think. Okay, we don't need to do much with those. Alright, the other hand, I mean the arm. We don't want it to affect the metal parts. So it just moves the metal stuff. And we don't want the hand to affect the children too much as well, because that can cause problems too. And again, this is weird, but okay. It's also a nice idea to just move the bone out, far out, to see if they influence anything at all. So again, the fingers seem to be just fine, and we can move on to something else. And oh, the neck seems to be affecting something we don't want, the face. And yeah, that's a quick fix. And then the pelvis would be moving something way too up. Okay, those are the feet. And yeah, you probably want the legs to also affect like something that isn't legs, like the crotch and some other parts, just to make things look a little bit more natural. So actually going to paint in some stuff here just slightly, but just not too much. And but we don't want it to affect the other side of the body, because that will make it look unnatural. Sometimes, not always. Maybe your mesh is made to look weird or something. And again, this part is solid, it's a piece of metal, and we want that to be attached to the leg. For these kinds of ankle cups, we probably want them to be attached to the leg, not the thigh. So we're gonna do just that. And here we're gonna remove the weights so they don't get affected. Okay. So, kinda looks alright. This kinda looks alright, I think. Yeah, we don't need to do anything with the legs, I mean the feet. And yeah, that's... wait. Aha! We didn't do anything with this hand. And so. Alright. And now if you move... Whoop. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, so I think we are done with the weight painting. So now we can actually move the carrot around. And in theory we can actually animate it as well. So yeah. Hello. But the thing is, if you're animating a character, you probably will eventually run into the problem of, oh my god, I need to rotate this leg again in this specific position, and I want the character to crouch down and move the legs like this, and it's really annoying, and it takes like a million years. So we want to use the magic of inverse kinematics, and basically what I'm saying is we're gonna make some points that will do some of the work for us, and we won't have to do as much work because we're lazy and stuff. But one of the first things that we could do to help us out a little bit is maybe we want the feet to be always pointing downwards unless we rotate them. So we're just gonna make them not inherit the rotation of the parent. So we're gonna move the leg like this. It will, like, yeah, it will point to the ground. We can do that same thing with the hands and maybe the head as well. So if you would like do this, she would like look at us and stuff. Oh yeah, and also the whoops, the arms and legs as well, even though that's not too important, but we can do that anyway. Oh, and also we probably will never need to move the bones like this, so we can just where is it? Where is it? Okay, I lost something. No. No. Oh, there it is. So we can actually lock some transforms. For example, you can actually lock the position. I can't move it at all. Trying to move the bone will only make it rotate. So let's do that for these bones here, which are unconnected. We will never want to move this bone at all. So let's lock these bones as well. So now our character is foolproof. I can do this stuff. But still, if we would move this down, it would just move the character down. Maybe that's not what we want. So let's make some new bones. Let's make 4 new bones. Let's extrude something here, and then here, and then let's disconnect these bones. No, actually, we need to clear the parents. That's the important part. I'm not sure if disconnecting this is something else, but anyway. And we want these bones to probably be somewhere here. Okay, so we're gonna call this bone I key R. Nah, wait. Leg I key L. And this will be leg I key R? No, wait. Damn it. I don't think we can have two bones the same name, but anyway. And this is gonna be leg pole R, and this is gonna be leg pole L. So the I key is gonna say it's going to tell us where the feet should be, where the foot should be, and the pole is gonna be the direction in which the leg will be pointing, so we can like spread the legs or something. I don't know. So we're gonna. Oh, and these bones probably have to be like not parented under the legs. We want them to be independent. So let's add some I key, and this probably looks different for most software, but the idea is the same. you would find your eye key bone, and then you would find your pole bone, and then the entire body like twists and turns because it goes through all of the bones and tries to find where it should start. But we can set the chain to 2 and then maybe turn the bone around by 90 degrees. Actually, it could be any kind of degrees, depends on how you've set up your model. This is really quick and dirty. I didn't really fix it up too much, but it's okay for now. And now if we move up the bone up, you can see that it follows the leg. So let's do it for the other leg as well. So, eye key. I'm actually, with that, I'm finding the armature, which is the skeleton. So, pole L, and again, 90. Okay. So now, if we move the bone down, I mean the center of the character down, we can crouch. Yay! And we can make the legs like this and stuff. And whoa. So yeah, and we can actually start making some animations with this, by the way, like crouching or something. But we're not done yet. We're gonna do the same thing for the hands, the arms as well, because we can. So let's make the pole bones, and let's make the eye key bones as well. Let's. No, wait. So let's make them independent, and arm pole R, arm pole L, hand eye key R, and hand eye key L. So, oh wait, we need to actually add the inverse kinematics first. So let's find pole, arm pole R, hand eye key R. Whoa, that doesn't look right. Whoa! Wait, what? What the hell? Okay. Hand eye key R. No, no. What is this? Okay. I seem to be doing something wrong. Hand eye key. Arm pole R. Wait, what the what the hell? Oh, wait a second. Oh, psst. I switched the pole, and the eye key bones. Yeah, it should be like this, and maybe it's 0. Nope. 90. Yes. Okay, that's proper. And then we will do the same for the other hand. I mean the arm. So let's find hand eye key L and arm pole L. Okay. No, wait. What the? What? Okay. That works. And these lines look like crap, so what we're gonna do... Wait, what the hell? Why does that? Why does that affect it? Chain 2. Oh, I used the leg ball. Arm ball L. And yeah, this is correct. Okay. Alright, so these lines look a little off. They can be pretty annoying to work with. So what we're gonna do real quick is we're just gonna make a small object, which is gonna be a little piece of geometry like a icosphere, for example. And we're just gonna keep it really basic, and we're gonna call this a gizmo or something. And we can actually hide this, and we can turn these bones into gizmos by changing how they look. So we're just gonna find the gizmo object. It's actually a little too big. What the hell? It's a little too big. Yeah. And yeah, we can do it for a bunch of these bones here. Just to make the editing process a little bit more understandable. I mean, for the animations, I mean. And for the body, we're gonna have a little bit different gizmo, which is gonna look like a circle. So, no, actually, let's make that invisible. And let's add a torus. Let's make it really simple. Actually, let's make it 20. And doesn't really matter, but okay, that's it. And I'm gonna call it circle gizmo thing, and let's apply it to the center bone here. Oh, it's too small. Okay, whatever. No, actually, no. Let's make it bigger because it's gonna be in the way. Okay. Alright, so finally we could in theory start animating this thing. Though I'm gonna make them wireframe because again no, actually no, never mind. This is gonna be just wireframe. Okay, so we can finally start animating this thing. So what you want to do, I've heard some people ask me, like, how do you animate your character? You just have this one animation, you make like this, you have this timeline probably, and you would like use all these frames for all your animations, like just keep them in one, like a list of animations. That might have been how you did it back in 1995 or something, but no, just no. What you can do instead is you're gonna choose a. No, you're not gonna choose dope sheet. It's not dope. You're gonna choose an action editor if you're using Blender, and you're gonna make an animation as a separate animation clip. Now this differs in softwares, but the idea is that you can actually make each animation as a separate animation clip, and then if you're gonna export that, then Unity will, or actually any modern game engine will understand that as a separate animation clip, and you'll be able to switch between those and maybe mix them together to create whatever you want your character to do. So in this case, we probably want to start. You don't always have to do this, but I like to create a default animation first. And what I would do with that is I would see if maybe I want some of the bones to just rotate and some of the bones to just scale, maybe move around. Basically, I want some of the bones to use very specific transformations. So in this case, these controllers here do not have to be rotated. So I'm gonna reset their oh yeah, and then also I'm gonna reset their animation, their position to default one. But here, press this button here. Pretty much all 3D softwares problems. I mean, pretty much all 3D softwares use some kind of system where you can just move something around and then it would register that as something you want to be added to the animation. So for example, if I reset the default positions of these bones here and maybe move the timeline node over here, then if I would move these bones here, it would actually create an animation automatically. We don't want that, but that's how we're gonna make the animations, and that's how you can do it in pretty much any 3D software. So these bones we want to rotate, except this one. Wait, what? We want to rotate these, so we're gonna add them as rotation bones. These are rotatable too, and so are the feet. And this one is movable and rotatable. Oh yeah! You need to save constantly. I have no idea why I didn't do it, but ever since back in the day when I worked with 3ds Max, I learned to press Ctrl S every 30 seconds or so, because it was a miracle if it didn't crash after 2 minutes. So we pretty much saved all of the bones, I think, and now we can just start making some new animations. So let's add another one. Probably the first animation that you want to make for your character in the game is standing. I'm just gonna call it stand. And by the way, don't worry about the F here. It's just a Blender thing. So we have started out with all of these bones, say that they're default positions, but we can, when you make any kind of animation, you probably want to start with some kind of cool pose that you would want to animate. So in this case, let's just make, let's just move these poles out here so they don't mess with our animation. And let's position them in such a way that they would rotate the hands and how we would want them to be rotated or something. Since this is like an action-y character, we want it to like look cool. So let's spread the legs, I guess. But that didn't sound wrong. Let's make her crouch a little bit. And let's also curve or turn the body just slightly. We want each of the individual bones to be rotated, by the way. So let's do it like this. And actually, if you rotate the body, you will probably want to do the same with the hands. I mean the arms. We can also do this, because that's always cool, right? Now I probably wouldn't rotate these bones exactly this way, because it's not actually a very precise way of doing things, but for the purposes of this presentation, I guess we can do things dirty. We can be dirty. And yeah, that looks kind of alright-ish. Kinda. And let's make the legs a little bit more spread out to make it look like she actually cares or something. Okay, so what would you want to see in a standing animation? It's probably something simple. We don't want, by the way, we don't want to use too many frames because when you're saving, for example, if you're using Unity, Unity isn't going to use this I key. Instead, it's going to save every single one of these frames as a separate pose. So it's important for you to not use many frames, to just use as little frames as possible. Just trust me on this one, because it can actually make the file size pretty big, and especially loading times in the editor. The game's gonna be fine, but you're gonna be sitting there for minutes waiting for things to load, and it's gonna be really annoying. Unless you have like 500 gigabytes of RAM or something, I don't know. So yeah, let's touch up a little bit more. And yep. So what we want the animation to probably do is to display the character being alive. So in this case, we would want the character to look like it's breathing. And since we don't have like stretchy bones for like chest movements or something, we're just gonna fake it. Actually, if you're making a game, you're faking everything. So fake good. You need to fake as good as possible. So we would actually want the character to like maybe just move this bone forwards and this bone backwards a little bit. So now, if we would copy the original frames to the end, we would actually see something. So, yeah, does that look like it's breathing? I guess. So now we probably want some other parts of the body to move as well. So you would want maybe this to move like a little bit like that, and like that, and like that. Also keep your keyframes. Keep them symmetrical as much as possible, because it's just gonna help you out better to figure out how to just make the animation much easier. So now if we would run the animation, you could see that the character actually looks like it's moving completely. And then let's maybe move the arms a little bit as well. And actually with the hands and some other bones ignoring their parent rotations, you're already creating some kind of animation with them. So it's really important for you to figure out which bones you want to move independently and which ones you don't, because it can really save up the editing time. So let's also move the pelt. Wait, no, that looks awful. Ugh, no. No. So yeah, that looks kind of presentable, I guess. So we have the first animation. So yeah, let's save. Let's export as FBX. Unity is pretty good with FBX, but you can use other formats too. Some of them, like OBJ, doesn't even support animation. I don't think 3ds Studio 3ds. I don't think it also had animation, but it might. This is, you don't want that. You want FBX. So are not gonna use the newer version because it causes some problems, which I haven't looked into yet. So what we want is the armature and the mesh, and we probably don't want to default take is basically like the original, the default positions of bones, but we already made an animation like that, so we don't need that. And yeah, we're gonna save that as a char preset. If your software allows you to make presets like this, you really should do it, because sometimes if you want to export static objects that don't have any animation, it's best to just choose whatever you want to export, and just make things much faster and more efficient. So let's export this this object with its animations. And whoa, she died. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. In in Blender by default, up is Z, but in Unity it's Y. Also Y. I don't so yeah, let's rotate the whole thing like this. Let's make that as our default rotation. Let's rotate it back. Whoa! No, that's not how I wanted to do it. No. And now let's export it. Yay! We probably don't want these gizmos to show up, so we can delete them actually. And just ignore this whole thing. It's mine. We're just gonna take the animation thing. Oh, and also, by default, you should probably want to use the new Mechanim animation system, Unity. But since I'm a screwed up person, I'm actually going to use the old one, because I have some code written for that, and I don't want to rewrite it yet. So we're just going to use that, and as you can see, we already have the standing pose. We have the default animation as well, and we're just gonna attach this to that. The script's gonna take care of everything. Just don't worry. Just trust me on this one. We're going to hide the gun as well because it's not animated yet. And also I made a specific material for the character to make it look a bit better. So now if we run the game, if you can call it that actually, we can run around and we can see the whoops. You can see anything. Oh wait, that's because we didn't actually specify the animation in the script. And we can totally do that with Revo animations, and we can have the standing animation here. And yep, you can see that loops. It's there. Our character actually is alive. For kinda. So so yeah, we can finally start making more animations. Yay! So the next animation you probably want to have is some kind of movement animation. So we would want to start out by default again. Let's make a run animation. Damn it. Never mind. We want to have a default. You have run animation. Okay. We want to run forward. Sometimes you would make more animations for running backwards and sideways if your game requires that, but we're just gonna make a forwards running animation. Running animations in different directions is actually not that easy thing to do, because I mean, it's kind of easy, but when you know how to do it. But the thing is, it's different from making your character run forwards, because it just makes the whole motion way different. And there's a bunch of different ways to make your character run sideways. You can make it like jump around, or just turn its pelvis by 90 degrees or something. But in this case, we're just gonna do a simple running forwards animation. And it's gonna be 20 frames long, I think. Yeah, that should be right. So, what you want to have at first is for your legs to move like this, and then back to the original position, and then like this, and then again back. And we're done. For now. So what we want actually is for these bones to be... Oh, actually no, we want the character to be squatting when both of the legs are down. Actually, this animation looks really awkward at first, but trust me, in this one it's gonna look much better later on. So you want it to be like squatting down a little bit at first, then we want it to jump up. Wait, what? Oh. Oh, wait. Let's just copy this. And, yeah, and... So it looks a little bit better. But then we want, for example, when we look at this animation here, this leg here, if this leg moves forward, like actually, you know, when you're making running animations, you want the legs to move in some kind of circle. Of course, they can move in all kinds of different ways to make them look different. But for now, you probably want this leg to move like this. So when it's when it's gonna move forward, you want it to be lifted up, like maybe by 4. So now, if it's gonna be lifted up like that, it's gonna look like this, and that looks a little bit more how it should be. So that looks a little bit how it should be. So we can probably adjust these movements here. Was it 3 and -7? See where I'm going with this? So for this we probably want to go up. And kinda like this. And you want both of the legs to be exactly the same on at first, at least. When your animation nears completion, you can start adding some random numbers to make the animation look a bit more alive. But it's best at first to just make it as symmetrical as possible. Also, you may notice that when the animation ends, it kinda skips for a second. If you have a good eye, you may spot that. And that's because... Actually, you know what? That's because these curves are not correct. For now. Wait, what the hell? Oh. So, when a bone moves, it actually moves through a specific curve that you can define. So in this case, if you see the green one, which is the y-axis, which is responsible for moving forward and backward, you can see that it ends smoothly and starts smoothly. But it shouldn't do that because it can it can actually move up and into the beginning of the animation seamlessly. So we probably want it to do that. And now if it moves, it actually moves a lot more natural. And we can do the same thing with the other leg as well. So when we're done with that, we can actually start making some feet movement as well, because it looks really weird when your feet aren't aligned properly. So let's make this like 90 degrees. Let's make the other feet as well 90 degrees. So yeah, that looks a little weird, but yeah. Um, yeah. 75. Okay, it still looks weird, but oh well. And we can actually move this a little bit up, because it's gonna make the animation look a lot more... Whoa, what the hell? A lot more something. Okay, that looks a little... Okay, maybe not. Oops. Okay. Does that look a running animation? Yay! So now when we're done with the legs, actually it's good to start with the legs, because it's for the running animation it's the most important part, because that's what your character is standing on. So when we're done with that, you can actually do something with the body. And one of the first things you want to do is you want the body to be kind of leaning forwards. Kinda. No. So you would actually, you may want to make your animation, your hand, arm animations for the running animation, arm movements for the running animation. You probably want to make them with the I key, but in this case, it might actually be better to not do that at all. So we're gonna take and not use I key for this animation. So we're just gonna disable it. And we're gonna re-enable it for the other animations. We want to save these as keyframes, so that disabling and enabling something like that doesn't actually influence other animations. So yeah, let's okay, that doesn't look right. Okay, so let's make a cool pose or something. Doesn't look really cool, but oh well. And oh, let's use the fingers from the standing animation. Actually, another cool thing you can do probably is stealing some bone rotations from other animations. So you can just paste them in like that, and you got Knuckles. Alright. Yay! Actually, you know what? Let's save this. 'Cause why not? And let's see how it looks in the game. So let's again put the running animation in there. Yay! Oh yeah, another thing we can do is this little script here that I made actually has some thingamajigs for procedural animation, so we can actually make some cool things happening. So let's put in some of these specific bones here. And now if we run around, I really hope this works, by the way. Okay, that didn't do anything. Okay. Okay, she's supposed to like look sideways, look left and right when you run, but whatever. We may fix that later. So, when you make hand-arm animations for running, you probably want your... if your left leg is forwards, like this, you probably want your right arm to be moving forwards. Like so. Like so. And your left leg, like so. And then these... Whoa, what the hell? Okay. So then at the middle again we return the arms to the original rotation, and then if the left leg is forward, then we move the if the right leg is forward, then we will move the left leg, the left arm. Kind of like that. And then we return the last frames to the original state, so the animations don't look broken. And here we actually see some problems with the curves. Again, they start out... You can see that in the middle they're moving seamlessly from the bottom to up. You want the same kind of movement at the beginning and the end. So if we move, if we see the movement here, you can actually see that at the end the arms kind of stop. So to fix that, we would just take this and just scale it to 0, and that pretty much solves our problem. Same problem here. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, yeah. Oops. Because they are different. And that looks weird. So if we would... So now we can actually see that the hands are wrong and bad and stuff. So let's rotate them somehow. Let's make them cool looking. This is totally for a game, by the way. This is like unseen footage of Half-Life 3. This is actually Alex. So again, these kinds of problems. We want these to be moving as smoothly as possible, so the animations don't stop at the end. And yep. Okay, that looks weird, but okay. So now if we save it, Oops, no. It should look a lot better now. So one of the problems that you can see now is that it looks like she's just gliding along the floor, and it doesn't look very convincing. Like, I mean, she looks like she's running, but it doesn't actually look like she's putting much force into it, because people are kind of heavy actually. You need to do some push-ups and stuff, you know. Because okay, so we're gonna actually make her jump up a little bit more. No, maybe not. Let's make her squat more. So like, let's use this value for this frame here and the last one as well. And when she moves forward, let's also make it like no, like that. Oh, let's also move this node over here, because we don't want the leg to be like stretching, because if you make your animations use a lot of this kind of movement, you can actually start to notice some kind of unnatural-ish behavior. Oh, and at the end, when she stretches her leg, you probably want the foot to be stretched out as well. So it will look kind of like this, and kind of like this. And that looks a lot better, I think. Let's also animate the ponytail. It's actually kind of difficult to explain how to animate stuff like ponytails, because right now it doesn't look very good, but if we're gonna move this part here, no, actually, if we're going like this, okay, that looks wrong. Actually, no. I've animated this kind of stuff quite a bit, but I'm not in the mood today. The thing is, ponytails are not that easy to animate. Yeah, I know. But one of the best ways to animate stuff like this really is to just apply physics, and we're gonna try and see if we can do that. Oh yeah, another thing, when you're running, you can see that the legs are kind of like spread out or something, and looks derpy. It looks like she pooped her pants or something. We don't want that, because we don't want that. It's gross. No. So let's move the leg like this in the middle. We want when the feet are touching the ground, especially for female characters, if the feet are touching the ground when the characters are running, you want the feet to be in the middle. It just looks better. And also, we just generally want the feet to be kinda in the center, not when they're like this though. So we're gonna make them like this and like that. So it looks a little off for now. And let's do the same with the other foot. you definitely can actually. That can really help. If you're making realistic characters, it really does help to know how characters behave in, meaning how humans behave in real life. In fact, for some 3D animators that do work for cartoons, and actually not just CGI cartoons, but also movies where you do a lot of actual CGI, like composite CGI. Um, if you would make an animal from CGI, would probably need to make it use real anatomy, like simulate real anatomy, like muscles and like actual bone movements and stuff like that. You would want to actually know how these things work. Yeah, and you can definitely use motion capture as well. That helps if your character looks realistic. I've always thought that if your character doesn't look realistic, if it's cartoony and whatnot, it's better to not use motion capture, but instead make an animation that just looks good with the character. Actually, that's kind of what we're doing here now. We're not actually making a very realistic animation. Also, when your character runs, you probably want to rotate the pelvis in the direction that actually no. um, yeah. So um, and yeah, but the legs look off, kinda. So we're gonna have to take a look at what exactly causes that, and it's probably this thing. And you will probably want the uh, the poles to move around as well. So it kind of fixed the problem, I think. You can see that they're moving kind of like, yes. So those feet look weird. Let's not do that. Let's do something like this instead. So now if we save this, actually running animations are one of the most important animations because you're gonna see them a lot. So you can see that the running animation looks way better now. Still kind of shit because I'm a shit animator, but okay. Okay. So let's make a jumping animation after a break. Oh, Kindex or something. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me now. By the way. before I start, I'd like to mention that on Friday we're gonna have Global Game Jam. So go check gamedev.lv for details on that if you want to participate or not. Maybe you just want to check it out. We're gonna have some games there and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna spend the next 9 minutes to show just one animation now. And that animation is the missing animation which I didn't show. Is the jumping. And when jumping, you might want to do animations in two ways. You either want to make just a moving upwards animation, then falling animation, or maybe you just want to make one animation which includes both. Or perhaps you want to make just one time played animation and then some falling stuff. Falling animation. We're just gonna make the jumping one, which plays once, and it's gonna include some falling as well. So, first of all, we want to again create a new. Whoops. We want to create a new animation called jump, and we want to start out with a cool pose. Actually, not a cool pose, but we want to start out with the character kind of leaning forwards as if it's trying to actually start to jump. And we want the character to also be kind of squatting. Maybe looking up. Yeah, kind of like this. And then we want a very quick transition to a different pose where we actually already jump. And I like to make these animations kind of tall, like not like this or anything, but like really simple and kinda cat-ish. I don't know. So we're gonna make a little pose like this where she would actually like jump with the help of just one leg, kind of like this. And with once played animations, it's actually kind of important to create a quick start and a slow ending. So with we would actually want to have like some small movement here. So it look kind of like this. And perhaps we want the leg to move up a little bit to make it look like she jumps up and then somewhere in between this animation she would actually start falling. And then perhaps in the middle of somewhere she would actually like oops, move the entire body up and then maybe do something like that. Okay, so now if we're gonna put this in the game, pum, 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 we're actually going to have a jumping animation. It's look kind. Oh, what the fuck? Wait, what? Why isn't it playing? Okay. That's unexpected. I'm gonna get this to work, and then I think Kindex can take over and continue with his presentation. No, it's like 3 minutes. Why? Why? Okay. What? Yeah, sure. Wait, what? Okay, screw this. I'm just gonna use Notepad. um. Actually, no. Wait. Maybe. Maybe the animation just doesn't work. No, it does work. Okay. No, actually. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Okay. There we go. This is part of my code. Basically, each of these lines sets up what the animation is like. So, this will be the animation name. This would be the layer of the animation. And this would be the speed of the animation. And this is the type of playback of the animation. And I made it not only loop, but also the first layer, which is the same as standing and running. So it just didn't play at all. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that the jumping, there's no falling animation. So please, Madsword, let me make third-person shooters. So yeah. And this is a trailer for Steam Defense 2. Thank you. Yay.